The Holiday Island Suburban Improvement District is back in session for our work session, and we will continue. I think for the most part, we're through the budget stuff. I guess what we need to talk about, we've got some things. The amenity fees, we talked about them the other day, but we're not ready to actually say this is it and this is what we're going to go forward with for the budget. We talked about some different options. I guess today, right now, we need to, as a board, decide what are those amenity fees and live with it. That's what it is.
And we could discuss the amenity fees and what we do. And the best part about the amenity fees is it's a resolution to switch them, and it's a one reading. So once we do a regular meeting and we come up with a plan of how we want to set the prices and everything, we can discuss what we think and everything right now. But let's come up with something that we think that we might want to see, and then it's just setting up a resolution.
Okay.
Randy.
Let's go with the easy stuff first.
Yeah.
And I think the easy things are the ballroom rental. Peggy's not here now, but she sent us all emails concerning the ballroom. And one thing the ballroom rental to me is pretty easy and pretty cut and dry. The ugly part is the kitchen. We always seem to get stuck with these cleaning fees or a problem after a group leaves that it's not fully cleaned and the next group comes in and they spend a considerable amount of time cleaning before they can even start their event. So I think that the deposits are too low, and I don't know, but we need to deal with that. As far as the ballroom rental, I think you, Rich, quoted I believe you quoted the singer $75. And they were tickled pink with that price.
Yes, they were.
And so I think for groups that are charitable, that take in no profits or incomes from using that room, that rate should be around $75 with a cleaning deposit.
Yep, and that's the biggest thing is people that are going to come in there for 2, 3, 4 hours. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can't justify charging out $500 for that.
No.
For the weddings,
That's a different story.
Yeah, they're going to come in on Friday and not leave till Sunday. I think we need to do a bigger rate of a lump wedding party. I mean, and we can specify wedding party Friday through Sunday, this much, instead of like $500
Well,
a
Doug,
day.
you said you had relatives that are in this business, and I guess you can find out from them, what do they pay for just the venue?
Well, I can find that out and let us know. In fact, I can probably bring, I can maybe ask her if she could maybe come to a board meeting and talk about this. I think that would probably be as good as anything that, we get her on a speakerphone and she could maybe tell us exactly what she charges, and she just charges the customer, but she lines that stuff up, and you can't believe, I mean, she's so overwhelmed with, she does stuff in Eureka, she does stuff in Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, all over.
Rich, I think
that's all she does for a living. And
the
she,
$75 that you quoted, I think is a good rate for those charitable groups.
but
I'm not sure what all those groups are, aside from the singers, the Holiday Island Fire Department Auxiliary, the Friends of the Barn. Oh, the Bridge Club doesn't take the ballroom, though.
No.
No.
That's a separate.
Ballroom.
Him to Hilda.
So, yeah,
sorry?
Himga, Hilga.
Hilga, yeah, okay. Those aren't in business to make profits or make money.
Mm-hmm.
To me, they should fall into that $75 rate. If you rent the ballroom and you got a bunch of vendors in there and they're all making money, that doesn't qualify for the $75 rental fees.
Yep. Randy, I also think that Himka and Hilga, they are all golf members that support that place. I'm not so sure that we just shouldn't say, okay, you get that $75 back if you clean the place. I don't think we ought to be charging them anything, really, to be honest.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Phyllis.
There had been a system in place, I think back when Barry was here, where there was a trade-off, and Barb was involved in it too. And if you did something to help the district, you got your ballroom, it was an offset, basically.
I've heard of that,
And,
and
you
one
know, what-
example was Hi-Ha, or one of them that were out doing the wood carvings.
Yeah,
Well, rather than them, I like that program, but they go out and do a wood carving and then say, we spent this amount of money, so we got this much credit coming.
Yeah.
I would rather that, if they're gonna do that, don't go out and do a carving, come and ask the board, what is it we could use? Like a new walk-in freezer or something that is an asset to HICID.
and my immediate thought is that these fellows that went out and actually bought their own patch material, the HIMGA guys that
Yeah,
went out
the
and
HIMGA
did that
guy.
repair work on the cart paths, I think we should reimburse them for the materials and let that volunteer work be sufficient, be their trade-off so they can use the building a couple of times a year, use the ballroom a couple of times a year. We're active, we don't do a whole lot, Hilga doesn't, but we do support the golf, Hilga golf tournament and things like that.
Well, I also think like, you know, if we're gonna do the fence on number 1 and number 2 like they're talking about, because, so the balls don't roll down there, is we pay for the fence. I mean, those people are, you're talking 20, take 20 guys to put up that fence and get it right. And we need to do that, because, I mean, we have people on number 1 tee. Sometimes there's a 10-minute delay because they're all out there trying to figure out where the ball went. Because you can hit the ball in the middle of the fairway, and, well, I know, but a lot of people take a lot more time. If John and Fred go out there and hit a ball, and they're not playing league, they don't follow that 3-minute rule.
No,
They're down
nobody-
there trying to find that
nobody does.
$3 golf ball
Yep.
that they just bought.
And the most annoying thing for me is when all 4 golfers are looking for one ball, when there's balls out in the middle of the fairway that could be played. Hit then hunt.
So here's my other question. So you get an organization, and we're gonna charge them $75 to use the ballroom for 4 hours, 3 hours, whatever. So a lot of them guys, or organizations, have lunch. With the new cook manager coming in, we have to cater these lunches for them. So if they have us cater their lunch, we should drop the rental fee too.
Okay,
I think.
'Cause
you
I
know,
think
if
we
they
make a
cater
little
their lunch,
money
you
on the
drop rental
catering.
fee. I agree to that.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
So
number
it's-
1, so we won't be bringing any food in, they'll be taking
Yep.
care of it.
We can't do any food brought in anymore, so if they cake and they want to rent it for a quick little get-together.
well,
with
we
no-
do it with HIMGA, and Hilga does it as well. We have
Yeah.
a lunch, or the old Coots does, we either have a lunch or a breakfast.
So if they do no lunch or don't use anything there, they pay 75, let's just say. And then if they want us to cater it in, then we could drop that down to, let's say, $25 or $35.
Yeah, that's what we did for our year-end.
Because, and then sometimes if they want to have one in the evening, or the bar's open up there, let's let them go in and buy a drink and bring it back in there. That helps. That would help a bunch.
And I guess what you're talking about right now is that the ballroom has 2 different prices for a non-property owner and a property owner. But in the rules and regulations, section 5-35, there are actually 3 categories.
Right.
Yeah,
The A is being the Holiday Island clubs and organizations. And then B being the property owners and C being non-property owners. So there should technically be three different prices in the price list, and break those out.
We'll break them up when we decide this. We can break that up in different, well, it'd actually be 4, because we'll do organizations with food, organizations without food. And then we'll do property owner, non-property owner.
So we're pretty much in agreement on the ballroom pricing. Ken, back to what you said in the simulator room, and I think it's been pretty much the consensus of the board that we're going to get rid of the simulator.
Yes.
yes.
The building isn't, the room isn't big enough for it. That's
No,
number
it
one
won't
thing.
be once you put an 8-foot, 8-foot-6
No.
ceiling in.
Takes a 13-foot ceiling.
Okay, my next question then is, we have agreed to take out the simulator. The only other elephant in the room is the pool table. What are we going to do with that? Can that stay, or is there room for them to play the bridge club?
If we put a ceiling in that room with lighting, and we got the ping pong table too,
Yeah,
Ping
well,
pong
the ping pong table's at least portable.
Yep, it folds up and slides out of the way. We can slide that pool table over where the simulator is and kind of clean that room up a little bit, and then we could probably get 5 tables in there for something else. So we
Well,
could,
what we're talking about is the Bridge Club.
No, the Bridge Club's moved to the island.
they've gone
What's the
to
other group that, the one that,
Oh, there's a
Sue
group-
Stilley's in?
Quilt.
Quilt.
Nah, it's a bunch, they buy lunches too. There's 12 or 15
Oh.
of them, and she's been hounding on me about if we take the pro shop and make that the pro shop, where are they gonna move their, and she raises a
I don't know
legitimate
who-
complaint. She says there's 12 to 15 of them, they all play every week, and not only that, they order their lunch, they go up and get it, they come back down, they eat their lunch in there.
I don't know what group that is. We have the duplicate players that were coming in on Monday, and they have moved to the island room.
Right.
And I'm in a group that meets 2 or 3 times a month, depending on how many Tuesdays there are, but we meet in room B. We meet in the little room. And there used to be other sewing guild and art guild, I don't know who all met in there.
I don't know what
And I don't know
group
if
that
she's in-
is, but
Yeah, I don't know either, but,
I don't want to lose them because they order 15 lunches a week from us when the restaurant's
yeah,
open.
yeah.
But they could use the room that where the simulator is if we got
Made it
all of our
decent.
junk out of there.
Make it decent.
Why don't we just there's nobody, is there anybody play pool in there ever?
No.
Nobody plays ping pong in there ever? Well, then why don't we just get rid of it?
Well,
Just
I
like the
don't-
simulator.
Ping pong table is Vern Larson, so we just gotta let him know so he can get it out.
Whose is it?
Anderson.
Vern Anderson?
Vern Anderson.
That's his ping pong table?
Yeah.
Well, let's get it
Can
out
I,
of there.
can I ask a
We-
question? If we take that part and we're gonna put the pro shop downstairs,
Center.
we need the room down there for space. The island room right now is not used for anything other than small rentals, right? And it is the rec center, and why would we not move the pool table and the ping pong table down there and let people
I
use
would
it at a
think
rec center?
It's not big
That might be a
enough.
good idea.
I like
I
that
don't think
idea.
it's big enough.
Room's the biggest
Is it
problem.
room?
Room's a problem.
How big
And-
is that?
and if you
800
have
square
parties
feet?
in
Put it up for sale and sell it to somebody, or give it to somebody.
Yep.
Because you probably won't sell a pool table very easily.
Yeah,
Nor a ping
they
pong
tried
table.
at one time to make it kind of a party room,
Game room.
a game room. And I don't know how that ended up working out, but they had it all cleaned up, and they had either little coolers or a small fridge, and, try and make it into a game room. Now, that's an option if we wanted to, if we think it could be made to work.
Rich,
just-
did they have to drop the ceiling in that room?
Drop the ceiling, put it at tables in there for card playing and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And let those people use that room for whatever they need to.
Yeah, that was and with the pool table, that's where the pool table was at the time.
Right, but
Before
take that
the-
pool table out of there and that ping pong table, and I don't know, you see those on the internet, people selling those ping pong
Well, the
tables.
ping
and-
pong table's got an owner, so we can't even.
Yeah, right,
burn.
but we gotta tell them, they gotta come and get their ping pong table.
I think the bigger problem is what do we do with that simulator? What's it worth? I have no idea.
Well, we'll put
Doug,
it-
you own one. What's that worth?
Well, you can buy one that goes on an iPad. You can buy one for $400.
No, actually, I looked at one yesterday. It's 200.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But,
That'll tell me
so,
clubs,
so
teams,
what
ball
we
teams.
do is find out if somebody wants it. And
Put
if
it-
we maybe could put it on the internet.
Put it
and
on the
see if
Purple
somebody
Wave.
will buy it.
Well,
On eBay.
my thought was we could have Mark put it on Facebook,
Right.
Facebook, yeah.
put a price on there.
You
'Cause
might be surprised. Somebody might want one for the garage.
Yep, and it's basically gonna be the net and the vest and the programming for the vest, so.
Well, I think
That's probably the
If
best
worse
way.
comes to worse, I'll take the pads, the hitting pads.
that could be stored in that lounge room that no one ever uses.
Lounge room.
You know what I'm talking about, Phyllis? The one with the windows? When you walk down the hallway and you go past the simulator room, the very next room is the lounge, and it's got some windows,
No,
and it's
that's
a.
room, that's room A, that's room B, that's where we play bridge.
room B?
That's room B.
Yeah, right next to the women's
Don't you
bathroom.
guys use that?
Yeah,
in place?
yeah.
I
Yep,
thought so.
That's room B.
Oh, I didn't have that in my drawing. I didn't know that these room A, B, and C. I don't know those names.
Yeah.
Well,
A is the big one and B is the small.
5 tables.
yeah,
What's the
So you wanna
simulator
keep
room?
that.
C's similar.
Oh, that's
room.
a C room? Okay.
Well, you
Well, I
need
guess you
that
can't put the
small
pool
room.
table and the stuff in that other room because you're using it.
Well, it's probably not enough space.
Well, you
Okay.
need to use that small room if you have the big room, or you want both rooms?
My point is that the equipment that's in there currently, the simulator, the pool table, and the ping pong table need to be gone so we can put a ceiling in there.
Right.
We
Let's
just
get
got
out-
too much clutter in that room to work.
Right, yeah, let's just get rid of it.
Well,
Bring it up to code.
as the
and
board, do
figure
you
out
want
what-
to sell it? Do you want to give, what do you want to do with it?
Well, I think we maybe put it on Facebook, see if you can get, and call those people that own the ping pong table and say, please come and pick your ping pong table. Now, there's a locker room. There's a locker room down there. Maybe you could store that, move that ping pong table for the minute into the locker room. Does there anybody use that locker room?
The locker room is the room that the ceiling has to be put.
Right, I know, but I mean, put it somewhere where, any place in there where you can get rid of it until we get the ceiling done, and then by that time, hopefully, we've got it done, or else get rid of it.
And I hate to move stuff 3 times, but I mean, we could put it down at that barn at the garage where we're gonna move the stage and stuff and tarp it up until we get it sold. But,
Well,
I say we post it, see if they can, first come, first serve, take it,
Yeah.
see what we get price for it.
The white elephant is the pool table.
Oh,
They don't want
You know what? I can move the ping pong table by myself, and I can move that simulator by myself. The pool table, we got to deal with that. I'm sure it's heavy. It's probably got a
Well, we'll have to
3/4,
get-
1
we'll
inch
have to
slate
get some-
bed on it.
Maybe we can get some golfers to help.
700-800 pounds.
Just ask.
Let me ask you this question. B room is very small, and so is the room where the simulator is. I mean, it's just an L-shaped room.
Yeah.
Is it worth looking at taking that wall out and making it one big room? Right there in the corner, we're gonna have to put the ceiling in anyways.
Yeah.
It's 2 walls. We'd have to redo
that
it.
way you could actually build off and seal that power room, that electrical
That's
room.
the other part that I was about to get to, is you're
Yeah.
gonna have to do the power that's behind the simulator at this point.
Yep.
I don't, I use room B, and I don't see, I think that's, the size of that room is good for the people that are using it and what they're doing. And if you knock the walls down, you're putting 8 people in a way bigger space than they need. Air, heat and cool, I mean,
But maybe you
It's
would
already
develop, if you
cool.
had that bigger room, maybe you would develop some other people to come and use it.
We could bring the quilt club back down there too.
well, that, it's worthwhile to, I'm.
I think that's definitely because you're gonna have to wall that off for that electrical stuff back there in those panels, right?
No, they're just gonna cut the false ceiling around them and seal them.
Okay, all right. I can fit the ceiling. Okay, all right. Well, I didn't know what your plans all were, so now, but, okay, let's just take a look and see what that wall would, if we kick that wall out of there, we might get like Billy's a carpenter and some of the guys.
Well, no, we're going to talk to David Dobrin.
Okay.
He's the one we decided that we were going to actually
Well,
use.
I mean, where the simulator is just a weird shaped room, what are you gonna do with it once you get stuff out of there?
And technically, if you did that, if my recollection's clear, that room then becomes just a giant rectangle.
Are we gonna need a little extra storage down there, or can we get that all in the?
We got storage,
That's-
actually, we got storage down there now.
In the pro shop, we're gonna have plenty of storage.
Okay,
But if we do that room and we bring that similar wall straight across, you can put a door on there that goes into the power and you can have your storage there too.
yeah, okay,
So
There's 2
like,
closets in the pro
Yeah.
shop,
yeah,
plus an office.
right.
Plus
Yeah,
the
I know,
kitchen.
there's plenty of room down there, we just gotta
There's
utilize
a
it.
ton of room down there that doesn't get used.
I know, it's sad that we,
Well, back to the budget.
Yeah,
We've
Mr.
agreed,
Chairman, that was my question. Can we go back
I
to
have
the
one-
budget?
yeah,
I've
we're
one question.
agreed on the ballroom, right, pretty much? These meeting rooms, I think when Sue Stilley talked to me, she said they paid like $15 a year. Does that sound right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We were paying We were paying $25 for room B.
Okay,
The Bridge Club.
and that's reasonable.
We paid for poker, we paid
A
$25
year,
for room B,
$25 a year.
Poker.
I'm sorry, a
year.
year.
Tuesday night.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. What about, the island room? What are we charging for that?
For the what?
We got $15 an hour or $135 a day. Now, we got charitable groups or groups that want to use that. Those numbers aren't really right.
And we transfer with the Bridge Club moving up there and everything, we transferred the funds, what they pay up there too. The $25 a year or whatever it is.
I think they were a little more because they were using a bigger room. 65?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know.
We transferred the funds. So what the certain organizations that went from the ballroom or the pro shop room up to the island room are still getting changed the same amount a year.
Well, let me put it this way. For those groups, do we need to publish that? Or is that just kind of an agreement between the DM and the group? Because I don't know, no one else is going to qualify for that kind of rate. It's only these groups, specific groups, the
It
Bridge
is.
Club, the whatever these,
Yep, Bridge Club, Quilt Club, all them clubs. And it's just like, yeah.
They're
Just like
pretty
him got hung up, or all the rest of the groups, organizations, we try to cut them deals because they are part of the community and help out.
well, we can't lose sight of the fact these groups and the people in them own this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Well-
the phrase I hate absolutely the most in the whole world is, that's the way it was done before.
Yeah, I don't hear that. Forget that. No, yeah, that's the most lame excuse in the world. That's the way we've always done it. Well, you've been doing it wrong for all the time. You know what?
But to answer your question, I think we can operate with this being posted on our website and being available, and leave it to the discretion of the club manager, the district manager, to individually make a decision when an existing club comes in. and
Well,
ne-
Okay.
the only thing that's
negotiate
really
price.
bugging me is these groups that have been using the kitchen at the ballroom, they don't clean it, they post a deposit, and just blow it off and say, you guys clean it.
Well, you charge it up front.
Maybe you need to up the deposit.
Well, that was Peggy's suggestion. We ought to jack it up to $500.
Yeah, right. That way you'll clean it.
It just keeps bothering me that we keep having problems with
Yeah.
And then we have to
Cleaning
pay
kitchens.
somebody $1,000 to clean it.
Yeah, $1,000. I have a comment, Randy, about the singers. The singers, Holiday Island singers need the ballroom like 10 weeks in the fall, about 10 weeks in the spring. Currently, they've been rehearsing at our church, the Holiday
10
Island
weeks
Community,
they need it?
and I think they can stay there.
rehearsals, practice.
I'm not on the board over there
Just-
anymore, but I think our church council would let them stay there if they want to. But that would free up, they're in there like from 1:30 to 4 every Thursday, and that takes away possibilities of any other rental. But I think our church feels that it's a service to them. Vicki Shutters is the director, and she's in our church, but I could check on that, and I think it would be taking away a renter that, the money is nothing, but at least you'd free it up and not have to set up and take down all the time for them. You know what I mean? The other question I have, Phyllis, is the exercise group, there's a
Don't
group,
ask me about exercise.
it's what?
She said, don't ask her about exercise.
No, it's like not a Pilates group, but they come in there with their mats and everything.
When the barn is closed, the
Oh, yeah.
yoga people,
strength-
the
strength
strength
club.
training,
Stretch
they
club.
use the club.
How many is there?
I
How
have
many?
no idea, I'm downstairs playing bridge.
I think there's a sizable group.
Yeah, 15 maybe?
Yeah,
20, okay.
15 to 20,
So what would they pay?
minimum, whatever it is.
$25 a year or something?
Yeah, it's got,
Okay. Right.
they don't, it's all volunteer stuff, there's no money involved in it.
Right, are we charging them for the barn even?
Okay.
Probably not,
Sounds
probably
like
not.
clean.
I think the barn is another one that, unless they're generating revenue, we shouldn't be gouging our homeowners to use that,
Right.
to do that. But if you're holding a big event and you're making money selling barbecued ribs, come on, I want a piece of that.
I agree wholeheartedly. And, my ladies don't object, which it turns out to $2.13 apiece, but they don't object to paying that $25 fee. Because somebody, you are turning on the lights, you're using the water, you know, a nominal fee for things like that is, to me, is okay.
Well, I think the other thing that's on here is the pavilion. You know,
Should be free.
it should be free up to 25 people.
Yeah.
You know, I had a homeowner that I know well came to me last summer and said that her and her friend that were using the garden area and they were weeding their plot over there and they brought a lunch and they were sitting in the pavilion having the lunch, just two of them, and they were rudely interrupted by our employee and told they could not eat their lunch there unless they made a reservation and paid a fee. And I said, you got to be kidding
I
me.
find that hard to believe.
So my point is, the pavilion, 25 or less, it's free.
Yeah.
If you're going to hold a big to-do there, then we need some money.
Yeah.
And I think the rates that we have should just stay the same.
Yeah, me too. And that includes propane. A bigger group includes propane if they want it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got the grill there, you know.
yeah.
It would not just go 2, 3, 4, 5 people there. It's free.
The barn, I think we ought to leave it like it is.
Yeah.
Except the barn, I think the rate as far as the rentals and stuff, I think that ought to pretty much stay the same. We've got a group that's the stretch class, they shouldn't be paying anything. I don't know who else uses that barn, it's a charitable
Art group on Monday is an art group. Diane, I think her name is, she teaches art there free on Monday,
Really?
Monday morning, yeah.
Well, and they had line dancing.
Yeah, that's fine. To
And,
me, those
you know,
ought to be
all those-
free.
All those things, I see no reason to charge for either, except for the fact that you're using water and lights.
And you know, the barn can be really promoted a lot, Doug, for weddings. A lot of people on a country wedding, you know, hay bills and dressing.
Well,
for 'em.
I think the barn will be more marketable
Yeah.
after we get that stage out of the middle.
Yeah.
And once we get that gone, that venue will show better, and
Yeah.
we've got portable aluminum stage that we
Yeah.
have recovered,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna move over there.
Yeah.
So I think then we can relook at the barn and as a bigger venue, and maybe it's more marketable.
I think that'd be a great idea.
Now, to the loggerhead. To the loggerhead. The damn pool. You know, I had a lady tell me last night at dinner, we went to the musical, The Corral, and a lady told me at dinner her sister came here from New York or somewhere. She loves to swim. So she took her over to the Berryville public pool, and it was $5. That's the daily rate for a walk-in at Berryville. And I was surprised. I thought it was more than that. But that gives us an idea of what other pools in the area, what they get for a day pass is $5. I think our pool rates have been too high.
Our
But-
daily admission is $5.
What'd you say?
$5 is what our daily admission is,
But
to pay as you go.
To pay as you go.
Phyllis, you told me earlier, you had looked at this and have this all figured out for us. These rates.
No, I didn't.
What did you come up with?
I did golf.
Oh,
That's all I did was golf because,
you took the easy one.
well, and I appreciated your suggestion that we do incremental increases. And no, because I didn't see anything wrong with the rest of it. I mean,
With what?
I think our pool fees are fine where they are.
I think we're charging too much for the short-term rentals, and $200 for a family swim pass?
Yeah.
To me, that should be $50.
I don't swim much, but if I go down there twice a year, I'm not paying $200 to buy any kind of.
And that's why that's why as a property owner, you have the right to pay $5 every
I
time you go
understand
there.
that.
Yeah,
but,
and that's
you
what
know,
I do.
but
And the
I
200
think the short-term rentals ought to pay the same fee and just have one flat fee, but easier for everybody.
Okay, work it in reverse. If you spent $200, how many $5 visits does that represent?
40.
40.
Yeah.
That's a lot of visits.
Well, how many, if you figure out you're open,
How many days are we open a year?
Well, say 3.
And how many people are there every day?
Yeah, would
I
you
mean-
get a property owner for $200 for a pool pass and that's all you're paying? And you go there every single day for 180 days in the
Well,
summer?
we're not open that long, but.
you gotta have nothing to do to be going swimming in
Let me ask,
80 days.
well, let me ask the
Memorial
board,
Day,
do you think $200, we ought to just leave it at that?
I feel like it's a fair price
I do
for a
too.
property owner that pays nothing when they walk in the door.
I agree.
Bryce?
I've heard the complaint from the Airbnbs. I mean, we have some that manage 15 locations. They're gonna pay $200 a piece. I'm not doing it.
Barb,
Hey, Barb, if you want, you can just take a seat right there.
Really, just sit down. Okay, so, I think even though short-term rentals is a business, and I think they can absorb this cost if we choose to make them pay it, we also need to consider them, they are property owners, just like us. Every property owner has the decision to make if they're gonna buy the pass or do the daily fee. We leave it the same for the short-term rental people.
That's
If
what
they
I
want
said,
their guests
one-
to pay a
One
fee,
shot.
they come and
Why
pay
can't
a
we not
fee.
do a variation
I
of
think
both?
the little bit you're gonna get by trying to get every STR to pay 100, whatever, 200, it's not worth it, you can't enforce it.
Yeah, I think we bypassed that.
Yeah, I
honestly.
think the
But
short-term
if-
rental people are guests of property owners and should pay the daily fee or whatever.
The way this is set up currently, the short-term rental owner is paying the same fee as an annual pass. It's $200.
As
That-
a
but
family
those-
pass.
they're-
But
they-
again, they have the option to pay the pass or
And
pay
they
the
have-
daily fee.
They also have the option, the short-term rental owners have the option of paying the pass.
Yeah.
The
but-
problem comes when
They're not gonna
they're
do it.
renters.
Yeah,
and that's what Barb's saying, it's property owners and guests.
yes.
They can pay
I see what
The
$5.
you're
people staying at the STR are guests of a property owner and therefore
So they
should
should pay
pay
the same rate as
property owner
Alex's
guest.
guest?
Same
Yes.
rate as I do.
$5.
Exactly.
We're also saying that if an Airbnb paid for the permit, that those people would swim for free.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well,
Yeah,
they-
and so no, I don't think they should get in free. I think if you're coming to play at our pool for a week,
So that's
you're
where
gonna
this
pay the daily
combination
rate.
of both comes from. I mean,
Well,
everybody
okay.
should have
Yeah,
a
but-
swim membership, and if it's $25, I've paid $15 to go into a bar. Because that's what's required in a dry
Yeah.
county in Arkansas.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
to have a membership to go into the bar.
Oh,
We
okay.
need a
Yeah, that
membership
over
to
Kansas.
keep us private.
I hear that.
We can't be free because then now we're calling ourselves
And I'm
public.
not saying be free, I'm saying
Okay.
treat STR owners the same as any other property owner. If you choose to buy a season pass, your guests come, I wouldn't let them go in free, but I would, for me, I buy the pass, and I pay a lot more than everybody else that goes to that pool, because I only go 3 or 4 times a year.
I agree there's a problem here with the wording, because if a property owner or STR buys it, those people are guests of the property owner.
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, but-
I,
Here's my only problem. You gotta look at it, this is from my side of it.
Yeah.
I gotta keep the pool open, I gotta turn on the lights, I gotta pay for chemicals, I gotta pay for employees. I cannot pay for that stuff by giving it away for free.
Well, I don't, and again, I don't want to give it away for the, I'm saying, don't make the STR owners get a season pass. Whoever their guests are, they come, they're guests, they pay the daily fee to swim.
Oh,
If I'm go someplace else and rent a house, I don't expect to get free amenities.
No, because when I go stay at the Hilton, I still pay a $25 or $50 a day resort fee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm
And I don't,
okay with
there's no
paying-
resort. During COVID, all that stuff was closed, but yet we're still paying it.
Yeah, so all we're saying is the people that stay at the STRs around here, they can use our pool, but they gotta pay a guest fee.
Well, that's the way it's set up.
I wanted to bring up what Randy brought up.
If we wanted to go back to $5 for that,
Yeah.
$5 for both,
$5 a day for the,
But-
you know?
I don't,
Okay, the Berryville Rec Center that Randy just brought up, a friend went there and swam for $5. I was over there playing racquetball for years. You pay $100 for a single person. My wife can go. $100, you could swim, you could work out, you could play racquetball, you could do anything. But if you came in there without the pass, $5, $5.
that's
So
what
we
we're
decided, hey, I'm gonna play racquetball every Tuesday night. I did it for years, and it was $100, and then you get the whole place free. No extra charges. So this person came in, she had to pay $5 because she wasn't a member. And so if we pay, I would say we should go $100 for everybody, property owners, SRTs, everybody, and then do it. Boy, if I bring my 2 grandkids and me in there and my wife, that's $20 every time I go there. If we do it the other way, that's a lot.
it's $200 if you buy
That's
an
what,
annual
that's what,
swim
yeah.
fee.
But let's have one pass and no daily.
But there's people that are singles, and right now we have the individual at $100. So what should that be?
I'm okay with that.
I guess
I wanna have the
Nail this
convenience
down
of
and be done
having a
with it.
pass.
What
I
the
want,
hell
I
are we
want,
charging?
I want every homeowner to have the convenience of buying a pass if they feel like it. If they don't think they're gonna use it enough times to warrant the cost of the pass, then they pay the daily fee,
Yeah.
and we move on.
Well, and I truly
make it
don't
all
think
the
there's
same.
anything wrong with the setup as we have it.
Yep.
I don't see anything on here, it makes a lot of sense to change.
I think it's too high.
I'm,
Well, folks, we
It's
got to
like-
vote on this
it's
next
like-
week,
it's
so
like
we got
that.
to come up with some decision
Actually,
today.
this we don't have to vote on.
no.
This
Right.
just, like I said, this is just
Yeah.
to change the resolution.
And-
And this is just gonna be, it'll be figured into the budget later on, whenever we decide. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna take away from this, it's gonna decrease the budget for the pool, so then they gotta take and reline how they're gonna pay their employees, pay for chemicals. Well, first of all, chemicals gotta come out first. Chemicals, powers, all that stuff's gotta come out first. So then what you're taking away from is wages. So yeah, if you're gonna do this, we're gonna have to figure out how we can get people in there to work, or volunteer to work, or however we're gonna do it.
Well, we got people like that now. I know one that I play golf with, and he cleans the pool, and he gets free golf, and he's happy with that.
But as far as being too expensive, I just don't view these as being out of line. Ken just talked about playing racquetball at Berryville and paying a $100 pass. That's the equivalent of an individual
and-
swim pass.
Berryville, Pool has corporate sponsors too.
But, I truly don't think that there's anything wrong with the schedule the way it's set.
I think it, for the people that rent, that have, our homeowners that rent, have visitors for, they ought to pay the same, they ought to pay, if they buy their $200 permit, and their people come there, ought to be able to swim free.
That's the way it's set up.
But that's for the people that basically, that have short-term rentals too, same fee for everybody.
Yep.
And if they don't, they pay $5 a day, just like everybody else.
Right, that's your main problem with the pool is that turning away little kids that have
Yeah.
come here to visit. Don't turn them away. Pay the daily fee. If the STR owner did not pay the annual pass, they pay the daily fee and they come and swim.
So you're getting your chemical bill paid.
As long as they can give us an address.
Yes.
Or name of whose place they're staying at.
Yeah, somehow they have to be
I
able to
agree
say
that
where
they-
they're staying.
Most of them homeowners, that for short-term rentals, ought to have a deal right there. If you go to the pool, you have to take this with you, and this is the address, and this is everything you need.
It's in their system.
In our system.
It's in our system. The problem is the swimmers that come in and don't know whose house
Well,
it
they
is.
don't
or
know,
where
Yeah.
they
it's
don't
staying.
know if they rented it from Jeff or Tom.
Right, or if it's
If
117.
they
Well-
put a piece of paper in that said,
But all they need is the address.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you know how you got to the house? What was the address to the house?
well, just
I mean,
put
that's just-
an address, put a,
yeah, you got right
Yeah,
there on
book
your
of
phone, your
addresses
confirmation.
there.
You
Yeah.
have your information.
kind of like
mean,
I do when I
that's
make my
holding-
own golf sheets.
That's holding people's hands that don't
Yeah.
need it.
I have I print them.
So is it the consensus, we're gonna leave this as it is?
Works for me.
And as much as I say it,
Any way you
Huh?
cut it, we have to approve something. And if we just go ahead and we agree with
let's
this,
discuss and think about something.
I'm sorry?
'Cause
So we can-
we-
Well, yeah, we can
Yeah.
wait till next week and
Yeah.
just put out a motion that we
Yeah.
keep it, or
You know,
you make amendment to it.
we can,
I think we
we
make an
can poll
amendment.
for our opinions, and my opinion is this is fine. How do you feel about it, Bryce?
My opinion is $5 is too cheap. We ought to leave everything else, and the daily rate ought to go up to $6 or $7.
People won't come.
I'm
People
sorry?
won't come.
Huh?
People with 3 or 4 children will not come and pay that.
It's too high priced?
Yeah.
What's the variable between
Okay.
daily usage and?
Well, they asked me my opinion.
What's
my opinion.
Daily use is like?
What's the variable between the $24,000 between memberships and daily fees?
Yeah,
I mean, we're gonna need some stats on what it is.
yeah, we need numbers.
Well, okay. And it's not urgent that we do this part of it either.
Okay, so Phyllis, move on then with what you figured out for golf.
Don't we all state our opinion?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, go ahead and tell us your opinion,
What do you
Doug.
think, Doug?
I thought you already did
My
it.
opinion is we make it all the same for short-term rentals, homeowners, it's exactly the same. And if they don't pay their $200,
They pay a daily rate.
$200, they buy a daily pass just like everybody else does.
Okay.
I
But
think
would
that's
would
what-
your daily pass still stay at $5 for them too?
I think that's fine. I don't think we want to go out and ship people off to Berryville and when they can go for $5 over there.
They're not gonna drive to Berryville for $1.
I don't know. I have no idea. I wouldn't drive to Berryville to go swimming.
That's an indoor pool.
Or anything else.
That's an indoor pool. I would say $5 is the max. Otherwise, you get $7, it'd be
All
28
right,
bucks.
well, we've got an opinion now.
Yeah,
Everybody's
very
kind of in
good, very
agreement
good
on
discussion.
$5.
Yeah.
We agree to
I like
disagree, I
it.
guess. Here's what I did on the golf, because I had nothing better to do yesterday. I ran a spreadsheet, obviously. And Randy, again, I think incremental increases is a great idea. I really think because that's less pain than when we bumped it up so expensively. So I thought 3%, given that that's about the CPI, that's about the inflation rate.
So
Why are we
golf will go to
percentage? Let's just put a
927?
number on it.
That, pardon?
Let's just put a number on it.
Well,
not
that's the
percentage.
third column, is the number. If you figure 3% is $927.
Or we
I
round it up to
I rounded
930?
it up to 930, yeah. And I did that just to keep it in relatively even numbers. The ones down here, like the $18 property owner green fee at $25.75, I made 27. There's no problem with leaving that at $25.
Right.
$2 one way or the other don't make a difference. I did kind of rationalize that if a bigger bite was coming out, it should be with the non-property owners. Like on the property owner, 9 holes was only up 2, and the non-property owners was up closer, it was 4. You see
If
what
you
I'm
put a
saying?
Say that again?
If
The
I
non-
put
the
3%.
non-property owner is what?
Would have been an increase of about $4
Oh, okay.
versus only 2 for the
Then
property.
you're going to raise the homeowner, like me, you're going to raise me $45 by doing a 3%?
$30.
Fuck off? No, I just calculated it out.
Where are you
I
looking?
can do that in my head. 3% of $900 is
No,
$27.
I'm talking $1,500 from my
Yes,
house.
it's $45.
He and his
My
wife.
wife golfs and I golf.
Oh, 50, yeah.
So I'm getting charged $45 baloney. I'll go to some other town. I don't think this year we ought to raise a dime. we raised a bunch last year, for Christ's sake.
No, it wasn't last year, it was the year before.
Whatever it was, 2 years ago, $250?
Yeah, it was 20% last
Yeah,
year,
jeez.
2 years ago.
Hey, but
Leave
we're
it the
talking
same
about
right
spending
now.
$60,000
I
in
think
upgrade.
percentages are dumb. You put a dollar figure on it, you don't put percentage.
You have to start with something.
Well, because, look, if somebody's got a single guy and you're gonna charge him 3%, so you're charging him $27. If you're gonna have two people in my house, you're gonna charge me $45?
Yeah,
For the same dang thing?
That's the way percentages work.
Don't you think we pay a lot more, we buy our golf stuff, we have our clubs, 2 cars? I think that's baloney.
The suggestion was made by the chairman that we look at incremental increases in our golf.
Well,
think-
let
3%.
me rephrase it. If we expect to make improvements on the golf course of between $60,000 and $100,000, we have to raise the cost. If you don't want to make it, we'll just leave the cost alone and we do nothing to the golf course.
But look at him, not me. Look at him, not me, because I'm in full agreement with that.
Doug, if you want to put $100,000 in sprinkler fees, somebody has to pay for that.
I understand that,
And it's got to come from the golfers.
but I think it ought to
It
be the
doesn't
same
come
for
from
everybody.
the homeowner.
All I'm saying, Randy, is if we charge $25, you charge $25, whether it's a $1,500 guy or a $900. You charge $25 or $27, both the same.
Doug, what we
They
can,
got
what we can
more
do
than
is say
that.
3% on the $900 and 2% on the 15. So now you're back to $30.
That's fair.
Okay.
I don't think that's anything
Well,
wrong. That's just like wages.
No,
Yeah, it's-
Same thing.
I'm just saying that, and I said this.
I agree.
a
We need
while
to do
back,
something.
That we can't make large increases in the golf fees. It has to be incremental
I think we
annually.
put $30
And I don't think
on everything.
$30 for you
Well-
is nothing.
now I object, because you are getting a discount on your golf that I'm not entitled to.
But he's buying a volume.
Yeah, volume baloney.
Oh, he's buying 2 memberships.
I'd say write a check,
Well, what, it's.
instead of a
I
credit
write a
card.
check for $1,500. I don't write a check for $900.
And I do.
And I do.
It's just like electricity.
Yeah, well, why should yours only be 1.5% increase when ours is a 3% increase?
It's just like electricity. Think, if your kilowatt charge is 11 cents, and that's for the first 500, and then the next 1,000 are 9 cents, then you're saying the electrical company is screwing everybody that don't use electricity. No, don't give me that.
Okay, let's look at it this way. You and your wife have 2 carts, you pay separately. Maybe you ought to be paying the 900, maybe you ought to have 2 individual pricings.
So
Instead,
that's 1,800.
That's 18.
that's right.
And then it's, but we don't do that. We give a discount if you both buy. That's the key right there.
Yeah, you have a good break.
No, it isn't. You have the option to, your husband could play too.
Us single people pay a lot more to the household than
Right, right, right.
Well, that's my opinion, and I'll stick with it.
Well, I just.
We'll see who can get voted.
Well, it depends. You want to put water on the fairway or do you not?
Well, I think it's $30 and $25.
Okay, I'm happy with
It's
that.
not
I'm happy with
fair.
that.
Okay.
I'm happy
It
with
is
that.
not fair. This needs to be equitable across the board.
No, it doesn't.
Phyllis,
Same
it's-
way with wages.
Phyllis, it's a matter of negotiation and getting some of what you want, but you don't always get all of it.
Well,
And if I can get 2% and not 3, then we get 3 out of the individuals, we get 2 out of the couples. I'm happy with that. It's something. And it goes towards paying for more sprinkler heads.
That's right.
Which I'm all about, but somewhere we got to generate some revenue to help pay for that.
Cart
well,
path.
And we will by getting more tournaments, things like that. Will all
Yes,
help.
and I'm all
All
about
that we
more
got to
tournaments.
improve.
And to get more tournaments, we need greener grass.
That's right.
it is simply unjust.
So do I.
I do too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would be $300 cheaper if I would just go and pay for inconvenience to me. So I don't do it. I pay the $900 because I want a golf cart, and I pay the $100 on the pool because I want that to keep going. But not every homeowner has that same thing. You keep raising the membership fee, you're gonna get less people buying in the membership, and they're gonna come pay the daily fee, and you're gonna lose $300 a person for everybody that does that.
Well,
Exactly, because when they raised the price $250, I've golfed with guys at noon. 5 of those guys dropped their membership. They pay when they come, that's it. And they
that-
do golf now.
I
There's a trade-off.
I would disagree.
Keep in mind, folks, this is a work session, and that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah.
That's right.
But, you know,
Bryce, you know that, don't you?
I do. Membership fees were $58,000, while individual, all, that was 68,000, so, I mean, individual.
How many average rounds are we talking about here? You know,
That's a tough one to
how
count.
much are we making per round?
And they get a golf cart, too.
well, and, you know, that's the thing about some of us being members and some of us, I mean, in good weather, I golf 3 days a week. Doug's out there 7 days a week, generally speaking. And so your wear and tear on the course is greater than my wear and tear on the course.
Well, I'm trying to figure some of that out too, about what is the cost per round of golf? What is the damage?
It's
that
damn
costs us?
cheap for members, especially the ones that play.
Well, in
Let's say
Nebraska, I
5
can
days.
tell you, family memberships are about $850. That's the highest one I know of.
That's
A year.
Nebraska, though.
Yeah, well, we're not in Nebraska. Yeah, we're not in
And that includes a
Nebraska.
golf cart.
Well, but you're here in a tourist
I know.
area.
And I would guess your
Barb,
golf
what's your
season's
connection?
in
We
this.
shouldn't raise it? Just leave it?
Well,
The more you raise,
I-
the less you're gonna be.
Doug, we're raising it very slightly, though. I mean,
We're just raising just a small amount to cover our cost on that stuff.
Yeah.
On that 30 and 25.
yeah, I just want to
Very,
put
very
some money back into buying sprinkler heads.
well, that's, you know, and that's all of our options. But I don't understand the logic of just deciding arbitrarily that I shouldn't have to pay the 3% that everybody else is paying, just because I'm me.
That's your opinion.
It certainly is.
And you have one vote.
I doubt that.
I think you're pretty much right on the money. One
Well,
vote.
then I will stand proudly by my principles.
Doug, I think we have to raise it incrementally.
Right.
When you're talking about spending money on more watering equipment and all that, we have to somehow
It's-
increase the revenue a little bit.
Well,
to help
I'm
offset.
going on 25 and 30.
I'm fine with that.
Huh?
All of the,
I've negotiated a lot of deals, and you always ask for a little more than you're gonna get. And if you get a little bit less, accept it and move on.
Right.
And that's where I'm at.
well,
Me too.
yeah, of course you are, because it's to your advantage. But whatever you decide, I mean, I thought I came up with a pretty damn good plan to increase our revenue.
But you're not going to get all your plan. You're going to get part of it.
Yes,
Is that the only issue we have is on the annual?
Just like the
golf pass?
pool, it just outpriced themselves.
What about the individuals and all that other stuff?
You know,
You good with all that? Are we gonna raise those 3%?
I think,
I increased the annual cart storage, which I don't know, and I also went from 250 to 260 for the private cart fee. which I don't think
How
$10.
much?
$10.
$250 to $260.
Oh, I don't think that's out of line, $10, but, you know,
I have no problem as long as we earmark some money for HIMGA to fix
That's
the
right.
cart paths.
Well, that's,
Because this money that we collect.
we have 2 carts.
I think it's about 17 grand a year we collect in those cart fees, that none of it goes back to HIMGA to reimburse them for the asphalt and the tee boxes, the flowers and stuff they buy.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think HIMGA chooses to do the flower boxes.
Everybody that does a flower box
Oh.
buys their plant material and they get reimbursed by
Yeah,
HIMGA.
yes.
HIMGA's, that money coming from HIMGA is your dues, my
Right,
dues,
right.
and all the people that belong to HIMGA, it's their money.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is, HISID is collecting $17,000 a year for that exact thing, and they're doing nothing. And I'm
Okay.
saying if the 17 grand we collect in trail fees, earmarking $3,000 to give to HIMGA to maintain the asphalt cart paths and the plant material at the tee boxes is a fair deal.
It sounds fine to me. I have no problem
And
with
keep
that.
putting grass on the tee boxes.
Yeah. And also, you know, we got couples that, you know, around the golf course, that husband and wives that go out and plant
I see
flowers
'em
and
every day.
do all that stuff. Well, they do it all that as
Yeah.
volunteer. The only thing
I
they're
know,
getting
I mean,
reimbursed for
I
is-
always thank them and tell them how good a job they're doing.
Okay, so we're in agreement.
Yeah,
that-
I'm agreeing to that.
All right. What'd you say?
Thought it,
Well, I think we're agreed that, we're
Well,
gonna.
we thought about several things here, so what we think we might think about. Give me a number.
What
Give
are
me a
we ideating about?
Yeah,
Is-
give me a number of what we think we might want to consider.
For the golf?
Yes.
$930 for the individuals, and the 1,500 will go to go to 1,525.
Everything else looks great though, right?
Here we go to 1530 and 925.
Or 1,530.
1530. And what?
And 925.
And in the grand scheme of things, you're only beating us out of $15. What the heck?
And then we're talking about,
And then I don't know if you want to do these 22s and 25, 20 odd number.
just go to 30 and 25 and be done with it. And then you talked about the trail fees, we're gonna put
$260.
$2, $250, $250 a year for a trail fee.
Plus 10, 260.
260 we're gonna go to, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, start,
And Phyllis
Cart
had a
lease.
thing in there for the storage.
that was part of what's on this schedule. It was $400, and the 3%'s $412, and I rounded it up to
Oh, and
$415.
the cart storage. What would it cost if you rented that over at Larry's place? You know, these rental units are all over this area.
I'm doing the math on this now.
Well, you know, that's something that we really need to.
We charge $400 a year. Is that enough?
We,
That's $34.58 a month. So that's probably right in line.
Okay, I don't know. I don't
I don't know.
have any rentals, but
I
but,
mean-
you know, the thing we talked about Saturday is we do need to manage
Yeah,
that, that business.
That Golf Pro will get in there,
Yeah.
go through every cart, make sure.
my
everybody's paid.
understanding is there's a lot of those units that don't have golf carts in them.
Yep.
Right.
They have a whole
There's
bunch of other
stuff
stuff
stored.
in them.
And
as-
there are
and
a
as
lot
long,
of-
and that's what we need to go through. As long as they're paying, I don't care what they put in there. as long
Well,
as
we
they're
know
paying.
that that's not accurate because
Yeah.
we just found 2 that haven't been paid in 6 years.
Right.
Yep, and
So
that's what,
that's the part we.
that's
really
gonna be
need
part of the Golf Pro's job is to go through there and go through everyone.
Yeah. Well, and we can spend money on doors. I mean, we can,
That's infrastructure, we have to.
yeah, yeah.
Let's just see. Anything else?
I think leave it alone.
The, what part? The 415? The cart, the annual cart
Yeah.
storage?
Yeah.
Where you wanna leave it, or you thinking
Tell us,
maybe?
what'd you say for that, for 400
It was,
bucks?
went from 400 to 415.
415?
Yeah.
That's 3%.
It's gone up $1.50 a year or a month.
That's on the bottom of the chart, of the list I made, my spreadsheet.
I don't know, I got too much paperwork here.
Here's an extra one.
It's a good thing we live in a forest.
Oh, okay, well, I didn't see that. Oh, I see, you went,
Yeah, like I said, I started at 3% and I rounded them up somewhat. Like I said, this one that was 25, to make it 27, it's probably, leave it at 25 is fine. Now the one below it, non-property owner golf fees, greens fees, that's where I thought the non-property owners can help us with our revenue as opposed to having it a burden on the regular, on the property owners.
so it's going from 45 to 50.
Right, so I put 5 on it, but only 2 on
Doug,
the
what do you think of
property owners.
For the non-property owners?
Yeah.
It's going from $45 around to $50 around. I don't think that's too much.
I don't
No,
either.
I think that's not out of line.
To get a
Yeah.
I don't,
$50 round to golf around here, you're gonna have to drive away.
right, I think $50 is adequate. I've been kind of writing that down as we went, and that's kind of what I had in mind. I don't
And-
think we want to go any higher than that.
The only real question I had about them was like these ones that are 18 and 22, and maybe we just as well off leaving it at 15. You know what I'm saying? I don't know whether a round number makes, a 0 or a 5 makes a customer more comfortable than an 18 and a 27. I don't know.
Once we get our golf course in good shape, then we can do something about rates. Right now, our golf course is in such terrible shape
Oh, that is-
that you can't raise a whole lot, because you can't raise golfing in a cow pasture.
Doug, it will get better.
Rich, let me ask you too, is this price that is being put out, is this included with tax or tax on top of it?
That's all in.
That's all in.
It's
So
tax
what
and
your,
everything's
your
included?
membership
That's
fee, you will write a check for $1,503.
And the non-property 109 hole, 18 hole, that's all tax included?
Yep,
It just makes it easier.
tax, tile, and fees all included.
Yeah. So that was,
Now, Ken brought up earlier about capital improvements. We've talked about a lot of things, and we've kind of paused a lot of things about capital improvements, but I think as a board, we have to agree on a dollar amount that those capital improvements are going to be. We keep saying it generically, but we have to nail it down. What are we talking about in capital improvements? Are we, for a total for the year, are we talking 100,000, are we talking 300,000? What are we talking about?
well, in order to balance the budget,
This
So
is not
that-
the budget, though.
capital improvements are part of the budget.
Well,
They're-
Not really.
not really. I mean, they are. So if you take him, say we got $250,000 over, or on the positive side,
Yeah,
and then we take the roads, and they want $200,000. And then you got for roads, and then they want a $170,000 mower, and then you take air packs of $200,000. That is going to affect the budget. And that's where they got in trouble last year with their
Yes.
$1.7 million
That's exactly what-
deficit.
Well, we can't afford all those things this year,
well, we can if we pay for them out of cash.
and I don't know that we need to do that yet.
Well,
And that's it. I mean, we're kind of dealing with a double-edged sword here. I mean, if we take and we say we're gonna make the purchase out of cash, then we're gonna start tying into what our bottom line looks like. But then if we do capital improvements, it's just kind of a wish list, and then we still look negative at the end of the year because of the capital improvements part of it.
Well, my impression, first off, is we grant a bunch of capital improvement money. We need to get the clubhouse back up to snuff and running.
Yep,
That's our first priority.
right.
And none of that stuff is high enough of a purchase that's gonna need to be a capital improvement. Your capital improvements are your $200,000 road projects, your $170,000 mower, even your golf irrigation, $54,000 golf irrigation. It's kind of borderline on capital improvement. That is something we could easily pay for out of everything.
Well, that's what I kind of think
Yeah.
Doug had in mind, is that we're going to pay
Yeah.
cash for it. It's,
But you take fire department and the roads are your main things right now. You look at $200,000 for air packs for the fire department, and then you tack on, let's just say $100,000 to go towards roads, and then you tack on another $170 for a boom mower, you are negative $120,000.
We're not gonna do
Going
that.
in deficit.
Well,
We're not gonna do that.
let-
We can't, we
Phyllis,
have
can
to.
I
I
ask them?
think we do piece by piece.
Can
Go
I
ahead.
give you a little background?
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Phyllis.
I'm sorry, Ken, go ahead.
I will not vote for a budget if it's over $838.50, because when we got our first one, is that right? Huh?
Like you don't
Well,
like me now.
Because that's just the way I feel. We keep, and I've said it over and over again, we're trying to make HICID last as long as we don't know what we're gonna get from the city. We hope we get more, we hope we get fire department and stuff. We're gonna get some from the A&P Commission as far as advertising, but it's probably, I just can't go to the taxpayers and say, oh, we went from 780 to 838, now we're going to 875 or 900.
Nobody's
We are
doing that.
not raising the AOP.
Thank
No,
you.
we're
All
not
right.
raising the levy at all.
We are not raising the
No,
AOP.
nobody is
We
suggesting
will
raising
work
the levy.
within our means.
Yes.
We just got to figure out what our means is gonna be.
Our budget is based on this year's, the same amount as this year for the levy.
Right now, in capital improvements, I would put in $100,000 for roads. And then I would look at $150,000 towards air packs.
Here's,
I want to look at those air
I
packs.
wanna-
And first off, let me preface this. The air packs that we're talking about are state-of-the-art, which are used primarily in multi-story building fires. They're not used for rural fire departments.
No.
And I'll tell you what, it comes down to money. Big cities, Los Angeles can afford $10,000 for a Scott air pack. And that doesn't mean the life here isn't worth the same amount of money as a life in
Exactly.
LA. But I'm talking about practicality. How many multi-story structure fires do we have?
well,
And
it's,
Doug, you've been a fireman your whole time. Is $10,000 reasonable?
No.
You know, I don't care if it's got fancy cameras and all.
You
that.
don't
We
need-
don't need that here.
No, we
Randy.
don't need that. We bought cheap stuff, and we had all our fires were generally chimney fires when people burnt a lot of wood. And they would catch their house on fire. I went up in a couple houses and saved people's lives. But, you know, we had, in our fire department, we had 2 packs to every truck. That was it. We never had
You're only gonna
4.
send
Well,
two guys in a house or a structure.
Randy,
You don't want any more than that in the first place.
if I may,
Yes,
it's this kid in the candy store attitude.
yeah.
I mean, the fire department is the biggest abuser, and I don't mean this, comes out negative. They are the worst in the district for kid in the candy store.
Well, there's
And
good, better, and best, and they always want the best.
Yeah,
When the good is what we can afford.
yeah, yeah. And so we need to.
We do, we have they have a champagne appetite, and we have a beer pocketbook. That's what it amounts to.
Exactly,
I'm sorry, you know, I want to look at these air packs and what are the choices?
yeah.
Right. I wanna-
That,
would like to do that with you.
so that job falls to the district manager, that's his responsibility. But,
And this is, he's comparing, I mean, apples to oranges, Cadillac to BMW is his biggest thing. And that's the only thing is, if you're gonna reach for the stars, you know, reach for the stars. If you don't get the stars, take the second best.
yeah.
So,
Well,
yep.
yeah. And here's what, Ken and I have been on a number of boards together, and the budget process has been that the district manager and the department heads arrive at this O&M portion of the budget. Then the commissioners meet and with the district manager and discuss the raises. And if you look at the original, at the budget, capital improvements and purchases are part of the budget process, are part of the budget document.
I agree with that, Phil.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, though, it's not, the capital improvements isn't coming off our bottom line. It's not part of our operating
No,
budget.
no,
it's not part of your
no,
operating
no.
It's totally
not.
separate from
It's
our
not- it's
operating
not.
money.
But it
here's-
still
here's-
shows, but if you pass on a capital improvement, that means you might do this capital improvement, and it will come off your bottom line.
Yeah. And,
Unless we take it out of savings or a CD
well,
money.
and see, this is what I have said all along. There isn't any place on a budget document for transfer from cash, pay out of cash. That's where the whole over budget comes in, is that we can plan on paying for the 250 roads out of our available funds. If you put it in the budget, it affects the bottom line. And in my opinion.
So what you're saying is we should at least put some rough numbers in the capital improvements in the event that we do want to do parts of them or a portion of them this year,
Yeah.
2025.
And to balance our budget, we have to allocate this $275,000 surplus that Jennifer has come up with that shows us our bottom line. That's part of our budget balancing. We don't want a surplus, we want a zero. Correct? Yeah, this email she sent us in November had it outlined, current net profit approximately 276,000. Right. And so this is what we need to allocate as capital improvements and wage increase in order to get to zero as our budget number and have a truly balanced budget.
So right now, yes, so right now, you could do 100,000 towards air packs, and you could do 100,000 towards roads. And then, that way, and then if we decide to do whatever wages we decide, you got the 275, you're still gonna be balanced budget, because you're not gonna be, I mean, even if you do a 3% raise, it's still
Yeah.
like $49,000.
49,000 for 3%.
3% raise.
So you
So you're
take
still
that
gonna be a
off
positive
first.
budget,
Yeah.
budget.
Yeah, if you take that off first,
And then,
50 leaves us 225,000 odd.
yeah.
And the one thing I would ask, things like the doors. Do you want, I don't have a problem with doing the big stuff.
I think the most important things right now is roads and air packs.
Yep.
And if we do, even if we do $100,000 for the fire department for air packs and we go at the lower rate, okay, maybe we get 26 instead of 20. We're still gonna come out ahead.
Okay.
So the roads, if we do 100,000, at least we're gonna get 2 roads done.
Right.
The only thing being is the Versaboom, which, Mike is great, and he's the only one who can run it. But if he can get by until later on, then we can revisit and amend the budget and see if we can swing a Versaboom.
Yeah, that all makes sense to me.
Okay.
But the smaller things that they talked about, what brings you back to zero.
Yeah.
Or you put $100,489.50.
I don't care if it's 75 cents. Well, and that's figuring out, if we do 100, and we do a 3% raise, 3% raise is 49,000. Right now, we're setting at 275, 950. So you're
My
looking at
suggestion-
$75,950 left for raises, and if you do raises at 3%, that's gonna be $49,000, which is gonna leave you the remainder.
My suggestion that we do, and I've got it wrote down here, is we do it by hourly and by salary. Hourly wages, we give 50 cents an hour, and we do salary. If your salary is under 75,000, you get 1.5%, and if you're over 75,000, you're gonna get 1% this year. I think that's somewhat of what we gotta do. We've raised that rate a lot, and I think that's the cost of living is around 1.5%.
Okay. So here's my plan. We have done cost of living increases, and
But cost of living really here is a lot different than in New York or in
Well, of
somewhere
course
else.
it is. Of course it is.
So we don't
Let-
need
let
to be
me- let
given
me-
as much.
Let me get to that. First of all, COLAs are increases intended to help employees maintain the value of their compensation against inflation. That's what we are talking about, is protecting our employees against inflation. I personally object to any kind of a two-tier increase system. It's giving, what we had talked about on Saturday was,
Why do you object to that? Because
Well, I'm
it's a
gonna tell
common
you.
practice.
I'm gonna
The
tell
people
you.
in major corporations,
We're not
the
a
raises they get are much different than the guy out there on the floor building the tractor.
we are not a corporation.
Yes, we are. By law and by statute, we are a corporation. I'll show it to you in the
But
state statute.
By governance, we are a municipality. Yes, we are a munis, if you give 3% to the hourly staff and 2.5% to the salaried staff, which is what we talked about was the final thing on Saturday. It's judgmental, it's divisive, and it's insulting. It tells our managers we only have 6 salaried employees anyway, there's probably hourly employees out there making more money than some of the managers, or 5. I don't know the exact.
Well, we're short
But-
one at the clubhouse.
Giving a split, doing this separately, you're telling your managers that you don't value their work the same way you value the people that they have working for them.
When we see that things get better, and you gave him over the last 5 years, somewheres in that 20%
No,
area.
that's not an accurate number.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I just heard him say before 8% and 7%.
And somebody said we never gave a 7 and an 8. We were given 2, 2.5. Anyway, the basis, the thing is, I think we're mostly all retired. Some of us still are waiting on that, a few of us. But the Social Security COLA for 2025 is going to be 2.5%. So they've already done all that number crunching to figure out what.
Why did we need to give raises, a bigger raise, just because of culvert? That's why I never
No.
did figure that out.
Well, you have to base your raise on something. We don't. If you want to give 1% across the board, that's fine.
You know,
But you need,
I'm
if,
just saying that if you give an hourly guy a 3% raise, you're giving him 42 cents. If we'd say, no, we're going to give you 50 cents, that's more than 3%. And if we say to the guy that's getting $75,000 a year, and he's getting $75,000, and we're going to give him a 1.5% increase, so that tells you that you're going to give him $1,025 a year raise. And a guy that's making $200, let's say a guy that's making over 75 just say 100,000. So if you give him a 1% raise, he's going to get roughly $1,000.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't get, and that should be adequate. He's making a lot more money.
see, that's the judgmental part. You are making a value judgment about the way people have to live.
I'm making a
You-
value
you-
judgment on what has been done with this organization since you've started.
No.
The 10 things I started out with, none of them been done.
You are saying that the hourly worker, because he makes less money, has more value than a salaried worker at a higher wage. It just is.
No, he works harder. That's why we give an hourly wage.
That's not, that's not,
Well,
not
not
necessarily-
necessarily true. That's not necessarily true. I'm saying just the guy out there that's got the guy out there salary
it is
working
judgmental.
alongside this guy's, and if we give him 42 cents, and we're going to give him 50, he's getting more than 3%.
You have to look at it on.
Bryce, I want to hear some input from you.
You're the one that still employs people.
Yeah, what are you doing in your
Believe me,
business?
I've got a totally different employing people, and this is the part that it exists different here. The municipal side of this has that. We don't give yearly raises
No.
in businesses all over the place. That doesn't happen. We give raises based on performance
Yes.
in those places. And we don't have those types of, we do have some of those entities that are here.
Rich, did you have a number that was a flat rate at 3%? You mentioned a number earlier, it was like 49,000.
$48,567.
And what's that, 3% for everybody?
That's 3% across the board.
For 49?
Full-time people, $48,567. Is that gonna, the difference between a 3% and a 2.5% across the board is $7,300.
That's pennies.
Amen, brother?
I think we need to come to a consensus of what we want to do. If it's 3%, so be it, do it.
My only point is it should be across the board. We should not have.
I'm not a fan of that, but for this year, I will do it. But going forward, after Rich has been here a while and has had time to evaluate each of the people, and we have full staff everywhere, I think it should be based on performance.
Yeah.
I guess my
But I
problem
think
with
for
it
this
is,
year, to get a budget done, if we got to do 3%, so be it.
you're giving a 3% raise
Yes.
without a 3% increase in all of your prices that are out there.
Yep.
Yep.
You're gonna have an increase of 3%. If that's the cost of living, cost of goods, we're gonna have a 3% increase in expenses.
Yes.
And so, I guess all around the board, it doesn't match it for me to do it, but at 3%, if there can be a new system put in place to make that happen next year, I'm fine with going forward with what's in place. And 3%.
Across the board.
Everything we've discussed, you're doing a wash, basically.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna be in hopes that we can bring more money into the pool with the thing we're doing. We're in hopes we can bring more money into the restaurant with what we're doing, the pro shop. We have to figure out. And if you want people to make this stuff happen, I'm sorry, but you have to pay them to make it happen.
Well,
And if we're gonna do 3% across the board to keep the employees I have, that I feel like they're gonna make big differences and wanna go forward the way I am, it is worth every penny.
yeah. And we show respect and appreciation for
All
our
right, listen, is the
hardworking
board
staff.
in consensus that 3% is the number?
Feel like this might be a good idea.
I do. Yes, I think it would be a great idea.
I would agree on the
Make-
3% as long as there's a new system put in place next year.
Doug?
Well, I would for this year only, but I think next year it ought to be on performance.
I agree, and next year we will, but this year we kind of got our
I'll go
backs to the wall
3%.
because it's,
I'll-
next Monday, we
I'll
have
do
to
the
approve this
3%.
budget.
I'll go
And
to
here's
3.
here's
We're
my
not
guy,
voting, we're
here's
just-
my
we're
thing,
just
guys.
suggesting.
The best part about Saturday, even though it was a beautiful day out and I could have been on my motorcycle, we got some stuff done
Yeah.
that has never been done here before.
Yep.
Just like today. There's never been a district manager that has involved the entire board like this for a complete rundown of the entire budget.
And I think we
It is,
did a heck of a
and we
job.
can be mad at each other, we can be happy with each other, we can do whatever we want. This is forward progress.
Yes.
This is what we talked about. And I love it.
And I was wondered about having an outside person come in, but I think that was the best decision could be made.
Well, listen,
As-
I had a call yesterday from a city council member who will remain nameless and said, we ought to have Cindy Reagan host a joint meeting between HISD and the city council.
Correct.
Yeah, for-
She would be the person to mediate that
yeah.
and move forward.
She did a very good job.
And I said to this unnamed city council person, I think that's a great idea. And I think Cindy would be on board with doing that. But the city and HISD need to get together and come together with a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, and what's going on. But I think Cindy Reagan might be the answer. Because I've also heard the mayor fears doing this for whatever reason. He doesn't want us to get together. But I don't think that's the mayor's decision. As the chairman of this board, we can make an invite to all of the voting members of the city council. And I think it's in the best interest of both organizations to get together and have this communication. And I think it's the benefit of the homeowners.
Once again, that's stipulation of hearsay.
I'm sorry?
Stipulation of hearsay.
I can't even.
Stipulation of hearsay. So you've heard through a grapevine or stipulation of the hearing that the mayor didn't want to do this. You don't have facts on that.
I want to say,
You're right, I don't. He's never said to me,
Well-
no, I don't want to meet with you. So,
I'll be
yeah, I
honest
don't
with
know
you, I
that for a
think it'll be a
fact.
waste of time.
what I remember is the mayor said, I think it was October 19th, he had a date, he picked it out, and he let us know. And I think you were on vacation, and some other people can't make it. But if there's 12 members, if there's 5, and if there's 11 members, we're going to set a date, we'll get Cindy to do it, and we'll pay for a lunch, by the way. And also, that's not the Rich's fault, but if only 8 can come, then we're going to have the 8 people, and we're going to go forward. Because they've been formed 4 years now, and we've been trying to get to start a meeting since then. So let's do it.
Well, the city council member I talked to was very optimistic that we could get some things accomplished if we got together. Probably the same city council person. I think we've accomplished a lot, both Saturday and today, and I think Monday, I think we can run through some things, and we can approve this budget, and we're on track. So am I. Bryce? I mean, it's not perfect, but it's a hell of a good start.
The questions we had the other day on some of these figures, you have the answers to, you told me, and you will present those at our regular meeting, is that
Well,
correct?
you found the 20 grand, right?
The 20 grand was stipulated off of
Right.
bringing out the
I mean,
apartment.
there were some other things that you wrote down that
We got rid of that.
yeah. And we covered all those?
The one thing we did not cover that keeps kind of bugging me in the back of my head is all the phones in all the fire departments. I am going to talk to Gary and see if we can eliminate all the rest of them phones. Because I don't feel like we need all them phones.
Well, and then having the Wi-Fi and all this stuff in these places that don't even get any people in them.
Yeah, we got rid of all that.
Oh, you got rid of all
Yeah,
that?
all
Okay,
that
good.
stuff's gone.
Okay, good.
The only thing left that's not occupied is the phones at all the fire stations. So I'm gonna get with Gary and get the bottom of that.
Okay, all right, well, I just want to know if we covered all those bases, because you haven't all wrote down.
Yep, got it all wrote down.
That's fine with me, I'm comfortable with that.
Second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Meeting's adjourned.